Dear Lord, watch over my family, my girls, and my husband. Protect us during this difficult time. We didn't have a bad marriage, but we had there was a lot of distance between us, you know? He occupied himself with his hobbies, stuff around the house. I occupied myself with the kids. Well, it was the night that Seth left. We were at a concert, and a friend of mine reached out to me who I hadn't talked to in months, and she posted something on my wall saying that, Judy, I don't know why, but God keeps you in my mind, so just in case, I'm gonna pray for you and your family. I really didn't think nothing of it. I went about my night, didn't even comment on the post or anything. That night, when we were on our way home, we got into a really bad argument, and when we got home, he took off. And I went to bed, fell asleep, and 4 o'clock in the morning, he's still not home. So I called him, he didn't answer, and he sends me a text saying, I'm at a friend's house. And again, I really was kind of confused by it because I'm like, what friend would he go stay at? So anyway, the morning comes and he finally calls, and I asked him where he was, and he said he was at a friend's house, and I said, a guy friend's, a girl friend's, and he said he was at a girlfriend's house. So I said, okay, can you come home so we can talk? So he came home, and we talked, and he said, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of being disrespected, unloved, all that good stuff. So to me, I think on that night, God was already reaching out to me, and I didn't even know he left. And I started, talking with Mario and Debbie. I started coming to church, and that whole time he kept telling me, I'm not coming back, I'm not coming back. I'm gonna move on with my life. I'm gonna start a relationship with this other woman. And I just felt I was at peace, and I knew, I'm like, no, it's not. You're not. You're gonna come back home. And I just constantly was praying, and I believed that he was gonna come back home, even though everything that was happening was the opposite of what, coming home.
And I believed I was never coming home, truly. I think I remember telling her, you need to get it through. Our relationship is over. I'll support my children. I'll pay for the house. I'll do whatever it takes to bring my children, but our relationship's over.
That day, I was at work, and I just pulled out a sticky pad, and I just wrote out this prayer. Just asking God to just guide him, guide his heart, just make him realize that what he's doing isn't really what he wants to do, and just bring him home to his family. Well, the next morning, he showed up home.
And I don't know why. Something that I couldn't explain. A feeling just told me, you need to go home. You need to go home to your family, and I went home.
But even after he came home, I had asked him, I had told him, I said, I've been going to this church, I'd like for you to come with me. And he didn't, he's like, no, you can go if you want, but it's not for me. And me not wanting to be away from him, I stopped coming to church. I stopped going to church, and I slowly kind of gave up on that faith that I did have. And like, okay, I got what I needed from you. I'm good. I'm gonna take care of this now because I have to focus on this. And I think we were getting by, but I was suffering. I was having coffee with Mario and Debbie once, and he called me. I was actually having a really bad day that day, and he calls me, and he's like, "You guys say you miss me, and you're not even home." And I'm like, "Well, I'm out, with some friends." And he's like, "There's no clean clothes in this house." And I'm like, "I'll be home," And that was the day Mario looked at me and he said, "Seth will be in church one day." And I said, "I wish I could believe that." And I was broken. I was completely like I was running out of strength.
Broken, but calm and peaceful, like I've never seen her. In her worst time, I've never seen her so calm. I've seen things happen to her that were so bad, and she just flipped. And in the worst time of her life, calm, peaceful.
Even though he was staying there, he would come home after work. He would take a shower, get clean clothes, and get ready to go spend the night with another woman. And I would give him a kiss. Even though he didn't want it, he would try to push me away, and I'd be like, "I love you." Like, most people wouldn't react that way. So, I just knew we were gonna be okay. I did. I believed. I truly, truly believed with everything I had that we're gonna be okay. And I didn't show anger. I didn't show blame. I didn't blame him. And the weird thing, I forgave him instantly. I really, really did. I forgave him and I forgave me. And I'm like, I know what we have to do.
She was a rock, she was patient, and again, it was supernatural, but I didn't know that then, I wasn't an atheist, I didn't deny it, but I felt I didn't need it. I always thought God and religion and Jesus was something for weak people, I wasn't weak, I didn't need to know that. I'm okay with it, but if people needed that, I was perfectly fine with that. I always knew it was something good. It brought goodness to people. I didn't feel I needed it.
When he came home, I believed in the power of my prayer. Like, wow, I just asked for this yesterday, and here he is coming home. But probably also when he found his faith and brought me back to it. And when we really, at that point, started really healing our marriage from what had happened, and it just took off on a completely other level.
I wanted to start going to church because I began reading the Bible, and the Bible says, believe and be baptized, and I had realized that I believe, and my next step was baptism, and I needed to find a church for that. We tried a few churches. Well, actually, my wife remembers, she's like, "Why don't we go to CFC?" She's like, "I really think you'll like this. It's a little different. They do worship. You like music." I said, yeah, let's give it a try. And lo and behold, we walked into that first Sunday, and I already had in my mind, I'm looking for a church so I can get baptized. On that first Sunday, the messages came, and it said, "If you want to be baptized, go see Ken in the back, give him your name, and you can be baptized." I couldn't wait for service to be done. Not in that manner, but I couldn't wait to jump out of my seat and say, I want to be baptized, And it was because I was seeing what the Bible speak to me, It's like, believe and be baptized, And it's like, it made sense to me, And that's what I wanted to do. That was my next important step in my life, was to be baptized and say, I believe,
Once we started coming to church and just, especially, our Couples Connect group and just reading the Bible, and I pray every day, and I can truthfully say that God is a constant presence in my life.
Absolutely.
There is not a moment. I don't just go to God because, okay, this is happening. God, I need you for this. No, every day. I think too, what was important is I had to forgive myself because I knew what led to that moment. I knew what led him to leave. It wasn't just him. I know he made the decision to leave, but I played a role in it too. And I had to forgive myself and look at like, what, Judy, you can't just point all the fingers at him. We're in this together, and I played a role in this too. So you know what? I had to forgive myself and look at myself.
Again, looking back at it, I know God brought me home, but at the time, I didn't know why. But I did know I was home to stay.
Sometimes I kind of say it as a joke sometimes. I actually feel like I did get divorced 4 years ago. I divorced who he used to be, and he divorced who I used to be, because we're not the same people. Absolutely. Not even remotely close. In a sense, we did. We divorced our old marriage. We have a new marriage.
We want to be that person that says, if I can do it, anybody can do it. You just got to have faith, God has saved my life. The Bible is where it keeps me, where I am today. And I don't ever want to forget that or go away from that, And this is coming from the person that just, like my wife said, Seth, go to church. You don't know Seth, I was that hard person. And now I want to grab big, tough guys and just hug them and kiss them, It's like I love when I leave and Pastor just, in his sweaty body, just gives me that big hug,
before,
and it feels so good, It's like, wow, this is what it's supposed to feel like, It's great. It's awesome.
Sometimes I'll be sleeping and I can just hear him going off for a half hour praying constantly, and I'm like, wow, who is this man? Who is this person? And I say it all the time. It's a miracle that he is the way he is right now.
God's grace, for sure. I'm Seth Lingley.
And I'm Judy Lingley.
And we made the great exchange.